Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the J22 Report. I am your host, Johnnie Market. You all know that drill. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you already haven't. And just a little disclaimer nothing should be construed as financial investment advice. Just my opinions, thoughts on the market. Read more below. And let's get into today's stuff. Really big news on Iran. Uh, Straits of Hormuz closing. To see the impact of it, I always go first to see how big the news could be. I always check with the markets right here. Gold is down $10. It's Sunday night. That could change. Oil, on the other part, can actually look at the oil prices. Where is oil? Let's go look at the oilprice.com. Oil's actually up right now. You look at WTI crude, that's up 2.5%. Brent crude, 2.48. So, Morbin crude, I don't know what that is, but that's up, same thing. So, Morbin crude, oh, that's sort of an OPEC blend crude right there. So, you look at that, it's up 2%. So, yeah, I mean, there's probably some legitimacy. I was talking to a friend who's in geopolitics. I couldn't really have him on. Uh, I would like to have him on, but he can't for contractual reasons. Come on to this show, too independent. Uh, so, yeah, not he's too independent, but my show's too independent. So, anyway. What he told me is I was looking at him. Sometimes I'll call him if I wonder what's going on or whatnot. Is that if you actually look at it, the looking at it with Iran, I'm just gonna see where Iran, yeah, Parliament. Yeah, there it is. Iran Parliament. They voted to close the Straits of Hormuz, but in order to do that, the National Security Council, they actually have to approve it, and then it could be done. So that's why I think oil prices and gold aren't all up that much. Who knows? Gold could be a leverage call. If you look at my couple of my videos, I do think if they do go with war with Iran, that it'll crash the markets. I don't think it will be good. And so, but yeah, that's the thing. Parliament, from what I see, but it has to be the National Security Council. Now, one of my friends told me he's been following it that China's tankers have left the Straits of Hormuz. There's actually rail that can be transported. Oil could be transported there, so they don't need the Straits of Hormuz. It will just take longer time. But in his analysis, his job is geopolitical. Told me that China and all them are leaving, and so that could be the okay of China gave the Iran the okay if they want to shut down the Straits of Hormuz. It's now in Iran's court, and that's how he was reading it. It doesn't mean it's not going to happen. So I don't know what's going to happen with this. If they close the Straits of Hormuz, Uh, I think oil will go up to 120, 130, and it will crash the economy. I don't think it will go up that much, like 160, like Goldman says, because I think the economy will tank. And I think the US will start releasing from its SPR. And that's what I think. Going on to more stuff. So here it is. This is one reason I think gold's down, is that this was 11 minutes ago. Where did why is this just like, I didn't even tap? Dollar firms as markets brace. That time I did tap for Iran's response to U.S. tax. So dollar firms. So I think there was a lot of bidding in the dollar. I don't think that's always the case. I think dollar can go up with gold. And that's why I think, as you can saw with gold, Oh yeah, look at this. More stuff. US semiconductor maker. If we had this big AI boom, one semiconductors, they filed for bankruptcy. Financial Times. So more problems with the economy. So two super yankers. This is interesting. Two super tankers U-turn in Straits of Hormuz after U.S. strikes. So two super tankers, both capable of hauling about 2 billion barrels of crude U-turned in the Strait of Hormuz after U.S. So yeah, there it is. That's interesting stuff. Rerouting oil ships. So you never know. Like that could happen. That they close the Straits of Hormuz, and then there's better other routes that just take up longer, but it'll still get the market. So it might not, but I personally think it will at least go up. So, and as you can see, look at this Dow future slide as oil rises. Right now, let's go to the CNBC. Yeah, same thing as the oil price. So, yeah, I think these oils, I think it just goes to show there's uncertainty. I think there will be a big spike. So, in terms of the market, I found this interesting. US executives are selling their shares at the fastest pace in months. This was June 20th. 778 corporate executive shares sold their executives sold their shares this month through the 11th, while only 200 bought shares. So there it is, buyers to sellers. And you have to remember, you look at this in 2022, corporate insiders, they were buying. So, so this is not a contrarian indicator. So this is the other thing. The bonds are in a bear market, and the bear market will end in the 2030s when the US goes bankrupt. China's official holdings to US treasuries drops to the lowest in 16 years. And this is one reason. Now, they do think that China's likely owning 300 to 700 billion through proxy by Belgium and Luxembourg. But the official holdings of, look at United Kingdom, they're holding, but look at China. Look at this. This is 1367, 807. So even then, now if they owed 700 billion, that would be right around the same here, but I don't know. But yeah, if you look at it, overall foreign treasury holdings fell 36 billion to 9.1 trillion, the second highest. So decline net sales through private investors. So yeah, this is interesting. I thought this meant that China's not buying the US treasuries, but apparently foreign holdings, but it's actually private individuals that I didn't read this. I thought the headline, but yeah, net sales are from private investors. So who do you believe? I believe the private investor on this one. Secretly wants to hold some additional treasuries. Well, I mean, the private investor, they're selling public investors, and this just goes to show how big this treasury bond bubble is going to be bursting because all these companies like United Kingdom, Japan, they're going to lose a lot of money too by by holding these treasuries. So, and look at this consumer sentiment is as pessimistic about business conditions as they were during recessions. So, if you ask me, we're in recession, but let me see real quick U.S. economic data. I'm gonna go check the data real quick to see what's going on. See if I have anything to say about that. Uh, recent, worse previous week, and so let's go back to sharing U.S. economic data. And this is the one thing: Empire State Manufacturing that declined. This is the one thing I've talked about this in other videos, but retail sales, and this is the auto loans, and you're going to see the credit card loans, housing crisis, and commercial real estate eventually impacting these numbers too. And look at building permits; those are down. Housing starts; those are down. So that's going to lead to more layoffs. And let's see. Philly Fed manufacturing, speaking of bringing back manufacturing, 4%, way below the census. So CB leading index, that's stock market, but yeah, this looks pretty bad. Straits of Hormuz, this is a wild card. They close it. I think oil will go into that. And knowing that, technicians say there's one more parabolic wave. Maybe this is it. Closing those Straits of Hormuz, and that does it. And then the economy crashes, and all the bubbles I talked about are done. So let's see what happens. Remember, nothing should be construed as financial investment advice. Just my opinions, thoughts on the markets. Read disclaimer below. See you next video.